Hello everyone, how are we? It's Josh Hart, JTH Boxing. It's been a while. It's been about a week, nearly over a week. I'm back. This video is going to be going out very early hours Tuesday morning. It is currently 11:15 in the evening. I finished work literally an hour ago, and I thought, yeah, what I wanted to get on and just talk. I just want to talk. Yeah, get it back, get talking. 'Cause there's a lot to discuss. There's a lot to discuss. Um, so where do we start? Let's go in chronological order. Telford, what a week it was, man. Telford was unreal. I had such a good time, man. The whole week was sick. The area was a bit of walking through the area. Got approached. But apart from that, no, it was all good. Great fight week. Got we got some good content. We got some good numbers out of it as well. But Liam Davies won flying. 1.2K views or something like that. Unreal numbers. Um, yeah, 1.2K views on Liam Davies. Fair play. But I can't. Yeah, it was sick. Um, and the fight night as well was ridiculous. Um, First of all, I want to say one fight that I think's gone massively under the radar was Owen Cooper. I think he fought Robin Zamora. That fight was so good. The first fight live on TNT Sport. And it matched the fucking description. It's TNT Sport, and that fight was explosive. That fight was I thought it was a really good fight. I think it's a fight that's been massively slept on. I think it's one where you need to give Owen Cooper his praise because it was such a good fight. It was a ridiculously good fight. I'm going to get the card up now. I'm gonna I'm gonna talk about because I saw every fight. Um, so who did we start the night with? We started the night with Bomber Brown versus Jake Darnell. It was very solid from Bomber Brown to be fair to get the stoppage. Very, very solid. Um, yeah, not really a lot to say. Jake just obviously was another one of those journeyman build up yourself, but yeah, no, it was a good performance. Then we saw Ben Fail versus Serge Ambomo. Um, Ben Fail, he put him to sleep on his feet. To be fair, yeah, it was very, very good, very good. Um, then we had Owen Cooper kick off against Robin Zamora, which I thought was a very, very good fight. Um, it was a fight that realistically could have been. I think it's probably the fight of the night, in my opinion. Just because it was back and forth, it was exciting, it was really good, and I really enjoyed it. Then we saw Jim Smith against Lucas Barabash. Very good performance from Jim Smith, to be fair. A very nice, a very calm, a very composed performance. Tough rounds though. They were very tough rounds against a very, very tough journeyman. So he can't complain. Yeah, he cannot complain, can he? Then we saw Ethan James, our mate Ethan James, pick up his first professional title against James Moorcroft. A very good performance. Boxed on the back foot early on. Got a little bit more back and forth towards the end, but it was a very good fight. A very good performance. And yeah, you can't fault it. Then we saw Amar Akbar, and I did miss this fight, so I was interviewing Fraser Clark. But I've already watched it back. Amar was ridiculous. He was ridiculous. He got him away very, very quickly, very comfortably. And for a man who normally goes the distance in his first four, that first round, to get a first round stoppage on there, solid. Then we saw Moses Atalma. Moses was very good again, man. And this time I was glad to see that he wasn't hard on himself as well after going the distance. Obviously, that's the first time in the distance against Konstantin Dovashenko. Um, you know, he was very hard on himself. But obviously that is aged like fine wine. Because that same journeyman went on to beat Matty Harris by stoppage a couple of weeks ago. On the McGregor versus Robles bill. Um, so yeah, that's aged like fine wine. You got to remember, he's 18 years old. He's 18, man. You like he's going far. Then we saw the main event, Davies Cunningham. What more can you say? Blink of an eye, fight was done. Liam Davies is a serious talent. He's serious, man. He's going very far. He's gonna go to the top of the top. Um, so yeah, that was Telford. Obviously, we had a lot of good content out of the week. Dennis McCann. I was still gonna name the names that weren't there, that weren't actually fighting that I got. Dennis McCann, Raven Chapman, Joseph Abercrombie, shout out to him, man. I know he was meant to be fighting this week, and his fight's been cancelled, so I'm gutted. But shout out to him. He's going to be another one. He's going very far. Only 20 years old. He's going places. Um, Fraser Clark and Zach Parker. Again, shout out to those two for giving me their time. Massively appreciate it. I massively appreciate when anyone gives me the time to let me chat to them. Um, at the end of the day, these people don't need to give me time, especially when I'm just somebody rocks up with an iPhone. Although that brings me on to another point, which I wasn't actually going to include. We are no longer recording on the iPhone, as we've now invested in one of these fuckers. Look at it. It's even got the flip screen. Oh, mate. Oh, I'm so excited. I cannot wait to get out to events, man. We've finally upgraded. Put this work money to something useful. I just need to buy a couple extra bits, and then we're good to go. Um, so yeah, the iPhone interviews are no longer, or maybe for this week and maybe next week. So I can't afford the extra bits. Yeah, I'm waiting to get paid by work again. Um, that's why I've been gone. I've been working, I've been grafting, going in the kitchen. Um, but yeah, moves on. Spence Crawford. Wow. Beat down. A fight that looked so 50-50 on paper just crumbled. It just crumbled. It wasn't 50-50 at all. Spence was ridiculous. Not Spence. Crawford. Crawford was ridiculous. And yeah, it was so one-sided. Something you just didn't expect to see. We expected a very cagey first few rounds. And they were a bit cagey to be fair, but Crawford was on a different level. And I think if this rematch goes at the weight above to 154, I think Crawford wins again there. I think that fight has shown people how good he truly is. Because people, why was the big fight? People didn't believe how good he truly was. He's proven how good he is. He's gone in there against the man who is the best two in the division. Yeah, best two. It didn't look like the best two. That fight was more dominant than I'd say any other fucking Terence Crawford fight in the past. Dominant. No, I didn't give Spence a round. And that's not me saying Spence is bad. Spence is a fantastic fighter. He is still on that top level of the world because no one else is going to beat Errol Spence. You know, things could change with a rematch at 154, but I don't think they will. But things could. A lot of people were saying Spence was a little bit tight at the weight, but I just don't see it changing. I don't. So yeah, that was unreal. And then just a week on, oh, I don't even, well, actually, no, we'll get to that next. But before that, Matchroom's schedule is slowly getting released. They said they were going to do a show every day this week, and they didn't. But the three shows they did announce are three very good ones. Now, I was going to say this one to the last one, I was going to say, but we're going to have to talk about it first. Wood versus Warrington. I've got my tickets, just for safety in case I do not get fight night press, because I'm not missing this one. I'm a Nottingham boy. I've got to be there to back Lee, and I am quite gutted because I interviewed Josh Warrington and he was a lovely bloke, such a nice guy. And it's one of those fights. If I wasn't a Nottingham boy, I'd just sit back and appreciate this fight for how it is. This is the two biggest featherweights in Britain, two of the biggest featherweights on the world scene. You can't say Josh Warrington is not a world level fighter. You can't really say he's on the come down either. Okay, yes, he lost to Luis Alberto Lopez. Look how good he is. And look at, you know, Warrington gets shit for that performance. Look at what Alberto Lopez, yeah, look at what he just did to Michael Conlan. He took Michael Conlan out in five in his back garden. Warrington lost a majority decision, a very close fight. I heard the scorecard for that 115, 113 Lopez, as did two of the judges. But it was ridiculous. It was a ridiculously good performance from Lopez on both nights. And you can't really give Josh Warrington shit for that because he's proven, like, Lopez has proven how good he is. He's shown it again and again. He's gone to two people's back gardens and made it look easy. So you can't really say Warrington's shy. Um, I think we need to remember as well, he's more experienced at this top level. But this is something new. It's not necessarily it's a 50 real, it's a real 50-50. First 50-50 he's had in a while, I'd say. Um, but obviously as well, he's the challenger in a fight where 4 years ago, this fight would never have been on people's minds. Lee Wood versus Josh Warrington. Literally 4 years ago, Warrington was defending his world title 2, 3 times a year. Lee Wood was fighting for the Commonwealth title and struggling to get on televised bills. Um, and now you look 4 years on, Lee Wood's the champion, the favourite, and you know, probably the bigger name at the moment. And it's unreal how the sport works and how Lee Wood has transitioned his career. And I think October 7th is going to be a fantastic night. And obviously, we had the press conference. That was a very, very good event. I really enjoyed that. Obviously, 3 interviews, Eddie Hearn in a huddle, where he confirmed Harper versus Breckhouse on the undercard and said he was going to be announcing big fights. Um, he gave me that cheeky exclusive. So I left the huddle as soon as I stopped talking, uploaded it, another 1.2K views. We're flying. We're flying. Um, Obviously, after that, they then obviously I went to the City Ground afterwards to film the fight promo. Lee Wood just asked all the fans to go down and film or help them out. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go down. So me and my mates went down. We had a great time, giving the smoke bombs, giving it the big into the camera. It was great. It was fantastic. Um, then obviously we had Taylor versus Cameron 2 announced. I really want to go. I really want to go to this. Let's be real. I want to be there. Um, can I go? I don't know. Probably. If the opportunity popped up, I could go. I can't afford it. But if I get all my expenses covered, I'll be there. I'll tag along. Obviously, very good friends with the trainer of Chantel Cameron, Jamie Moore, who I am hopefully going to see at the end of this month. I'm hoping I just need to text him, make sure it's all good, and I can go down, go to the gym, sit down, have a chat with everyone, and just say hello, see how everyone's getting on. Just mates like that. We're just mates like that. Just mates. But yeah, that fight is good. It's ridiculous. It's another monster event for Matchroom. Um, yeah, I think it goes the same way as it did last time though. I think it's going to be another one, but I think Chantel needs to be even more dominant because the judges may well, because it was a close fight last time, wasn't it? The judges may try to stiff her over this time. So we get another fight that close. They could easily just go, oh fuck it, give it Katie Taylor, and we can't have that happen. So I think it's got to be the same performance, the same type of fight, but more relentless, more pressure, more letting the hands go. And just backing Katie Taylor up into corners and even trying to stop her. But again, you just gotta wait and see. It depends what happens really. It just depends how Katie approaches the fight. It depends how Chantel approaches the fight. It depends what's being drilled in camp by both sides. So it's one of those ones you just gotta wait and see. And then we had the not so big one, but I still think it's one I'm very excited for, and I will be there. It'll be the first time I'm covering a fight week where I just stay away from home. Normally, when I go to a fight week, I'll go from home, train station, venue, back to the train station, home. This time it'll be train station, then we just stay in Liverpool for the week. For Catterall and Ares. I'm really excited for that actually. I think it's gonna be a really good one. I know it's the same night as Boatsy versus Aziz, but you can only be in one place at one time, and it's probably cheaper for me to be in Liverpool than London. So I'm gonna go Liverpool. And obviously I am a fan of Jack Catterall. Again, one of Jamie's fighters. I gotta back the people who've helped. So I'll be there in Liverpool. And this then brings us on to the doom and gloom of what was announced on Saturday morning. Uh, AJ versus White 2 is off. Dillian White's tested positive. Um, Always had adverse findings in his drug tests, his VADA tests, and the fight's off. They are launching an investigation. What's come out today is that apparently he failed multiple tests. So it wasn't just one bad test, it was multiple, which makes you think he's done it on purpose. So I sat there and thought about this myself. So I was on my way to work, about to go stack up some bread. So I sat there in the car, just thinking, I was like, right, something tells me this could be an accident, and then something tells me it's going on purpose. So the accident side is, you don't always know what's in your food. Or, sometimes, when you're taking your supplements that a fighter takes, sometimes you might accidentally take the wrong ones. But if as that really happened, probably not. It's the third time, and You don't fail a drug test 3 times accidentally, do you? You don't. And the reason what makes me this is what I was thinking. This is probably stupid of me to say. Um, won't get me in any trouble, but just a silly idea. But did Dillian White feel he needed to do this because he felt he was being overlooked? Obviously, with all the talk of the AJ Wilder fight in December or January in Saudi, um, AJ not necessarily needing to fight on Saturday because he's still fighting on Saturday, and I'll get to that in a second. Um, did Dillian feel he was almost being overlooked to the point where he wanted to make sure he is at his best by doing, you know, illegal things? Um, I'm sure it's probably not what's happened, but it was just something that crossed my mind in the moment. Um, you know, is that what he decided to do? Did he feel he was being overlooked? Did he feel that he was just being used as a stepping stone? A fight for AJ to get his teeth into, but one where, he needs to bring his A game and he can drill the things that he's been working with Derek James over in Texas. There's all these little things that play into it. That had me thinking. Um, but I don't think he'd do that. He's an athlete. He believes in his own ability with or without steroids. And I don't think he'd do that. But again, it was something that's crossed my mind in the moment. But regardless of what's happened, the fight is off. Regardless of why he's done it, whether it's purpose or accident, it's off. They didn't fuck about. They didn't try and keep the fight on. They didn't announce it and say they're going to go through this, that, the other. They just want to, you know, they don't want to get in the shit. That's the thing. That's the people giving like Eddie Hearn shit and Matchroom shit. It's not their fault Dillian White's failed a drug test. The person to blame is Dillian White. Innocent or not, it's a positive test. He's the reason this event is off. Not the event, but this fight is off. Um, and people are like, oh yeah, blah, 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 yeah, it doesn't make sense. How can you blame the promoter? He's not sat there fucking spoon feeding steroids to him, is he? No, it's stupid. Um, but yeah, as for what's going on instead, it seems like it's AJ versus Helenius, Robert Helenius. I don't know how to say his name. I will figure it out though. Either way, it looks like he's facing him. Matchroom, Eddie Hearn, 258. They've all said tonight that we'll be getting an announcement in the morning. So it's 11:30 in the evening now, so we'll be getting an announcement soon. Um, yeah, it seems to be Helenius. They've confirmed it won't be any of the heavyweights on the undercard, which means Hrgovic, McKean, Chisora, and Washington are all out the equation. Which obviously, no, McKean and Hrgovic were always out of the equation. Matchroom aren't going to take a risk like that on such short notice. Washington, if they put Washington in there, um, I don't think anyone would have turned up to watch it. I think you would have had the Ron Football Army there for Johnny Fisher, and that'd be it. Um, Chisora, I think Chisora would have still kept a few names in there, but fans also then want to see him retire. Um, Honestly, they wanted someone who's in shape, who's been training and all that, and Helios fits that option. He fought this past weekend in a little knockover against the journeyman. He's in shape, he's ready to go again. So he is the right option, I guess. It's a bit underwhelming for me. Um, but it is what it is. At the end of the day, regardless of what Matchroom do, you're not going to be able to like please anyone with this because they're not going to want to take a risk, but at the same time they don't want to pull the AJ fight. If you pull the AJ fight, fans are going to be disappointed. If you give them a shit opponent, fans are going to be disappointed. Um, if you give him Chisora, fans will be disappointed. If you give him Hrgovic or McKean, fans will be disappointed. There's no way to impress people in circumstances like this. Um, it's like it doesn't matter whether Dillian White is innocent, guilty, this, that. Um, at the end of the day, you're never gonna be able to impress anyone and please anyone in a situation like this. At the end of the day, you've got to make the best of a bad situation. You've got to take the best of a bad bunch, and the best in that bad bunch is Robert Helenius. Um, it's just again, it's the best fight they could get. Um, People said Michael Hunter, but he's been sparring with AJ in this camp, so that'd be stupid. Andy Ruiz, Matchroom took that risk before and giving him Andy Ruiz on short notice, and we all know how that ended. Joseph Parker was mentioned. Jack Massey threw his name in the mix, but I think you've got to be realistic. And as much as I like Jack Massey as a fighter, they need to have a fighter who's established at the world level. And Jack Massey's not established at world level. He fought Joseph Parker and respectfully got thumped. Obviously held his own, but he didn't do anything. It wasn't like it was a close fight. So they've got to do what they've got to do. The event's still going ahead. It's not going to be pay-per-view anymore, which again adds a few more problems. How do they cover like AJ's fight purse that he was going to get when it's not going to be pay-per-view? Ticket sales are going to go from here all the way down to here. And just a loss of interest with the event. Yeah, it's one of those ones they can't do a lot. It's just unlucky, really, isn't it? It's quite sad because AJ White team was going to be a really good card. O2 sold out quicker than ever before. It was shaping up to be a fantastic night. And it's just a shame it's off. It is a shame. Anything else to talk about? No, not really. I just want to say thanks to everyone for the support. Thanks for all the engagement in the videos. We've seen more views this month than I think ever before, really. But 2 videos in the last just over a week. Originally at the time it was 2 videos in like just around 4 days reach over 1,000 views, which is ridiculous. It is ridiculous for me at this stage. And the second half of this year is gonna be big. There's a lot of shows coming up. There's so many shows coming up, man. What we got next? Obviously, hopefully the AJ press conference this week. I'm not sure. Birmingham next week for your 5 versus Frank. Week off. Then possibly Smith Eubank. But for international boxing news, shout out to them as well because they're the ones who first reported Robert Helen as being the option for AJ being the lead front runner and probably the most likely opponent, and that's probably who will get confirmed tomorrow. Then after Smith Eubank, Joyce Zhang, I think. York Hall for Ellis Zorro. Joyce versus Zhang 2. Wood Warrington. Possibly a trip to Cardiff for Joe Cordina on September 30th. I don't think so though. Then Wood Warrington, but I want to try to do the GBM show on the Friday night. Reese Mold headline and Emma Dolan. Will Corley. It's a good card. It's a really good card. Then week after that, KSI Tommy Fury. I want to try and get my way involved in that somehow. Pave my little way through to there. After KSI Fury, Catterall Linares. Same night as Jimmy First challenging for the English title, which is gutting. I really want to watch Jimmy First challenge for the title. Jimmy's someone I'm a big fan of. I'm a good mate with Jimmy. Yeah, I really want to watch that, but I think I'll be in Liverpool for Catterall Linares. Week after that, I don't know. I don't know from there. But it's one to figure out. But that's all from me. Obviously it is now 20 to midnight pretty much. I need to trim this down and get it uploaded. And then I'm going to shoot off to bed. If you've enjoyed, like, subscribe, comment, share this with obviously, your nan, your mum, your dad, your granddad, your friends, your enemies. You know what I mean. I'm not going to go on. I'm going to shoot because I'm knackered. Just put in a cheeky little 7-hour graft at work. Came in and recorded this. It's what we do. Boom. All right, people. Have a good week. I'll see you later this week. So I'm going to try like some interviews this week. I'm trying to get the gym visits going up and running. So I'll have to see what's cracking. We'll have to see. Bosh. Adios, people.